Alrighty, so now we are in the second part of today's presentation, the meaning of the Arabic months. What does Muharram mean? What does Safar mean, etc. So here it is. So Muharram سمي كذلك لأن العرب قبل الإسلام حرموا القتال فيه. Muharram, that means sacred. This name is given to that month because the Arabs before Islam used to forbid fighting during it. So it is really clearly one of the sacred months during the year. And the second one is Safar. And this is because the Safar means something is empty. Something is empty. And the Arabs called it this way because it was given this meaning because they would leave left deserted when people went out to seek livelihood or travel. So it's some sort of like semi-famine months. There's a shortage of food, and the men used to leave their homes, going out, traveling for miles, looking for green parts and plants and any source to earn their living. And also the next one is, I'm sorry, I already spoke about this. Let's go to the next one. Rabi' al-Awwal. The word Rabi' means spring. So there are 2 months for the spring when these names were given to the Arabic months. Rabi' al-Awwal, the first season of the spring. The second one is Rabi' al-Akhar, which means that the second or the last season of the spring. And there's also Jumada al-Awwal and Jumada al-Akhar. Jumada means solid, and Arabs called this month solid because water used to freeze during the winter during this month. And there are 2 of them. The first one is called the al-Awwal, means the first, and al-Akhir means the last. So this is the meaning of Jumada al-Awwal and Jumada al-Akhir. The next one, which is number 7, is Rajab. So the word Rajab means the revering or honoring, something that the Arabs used to glorify. And why is that? Because it's the 2 months before Ramadan. 2 months before Ramadan. So this is a month that Arabs used to prepare for the upcoming months, holy months of Ramadan, the months of fasting. And there's the Sha'ban, that means تفرقهم في الشعب or في الشعاب. It was given this name because people would despair and spread out and to look for water and raid after they had stayed back during the month of Rajab. Remember, Rajab is one of the sacred months. So after the sacred months, the Arabs used to go out and looking for water and food, and sometimes they fight over water and food. Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, for fasting, it is from the root word Ramada, which means intense heat, because when it was named, the days were extremely hot. Shawwal, it was given this name because it was named during the time when camels milk would tashawwal, means that they are empty of milk. Tashawwal. The animals did not have milk at that time because of the shortage in food and water. The last 2 months of the Arabic calendar is Dhul Qa'dah, and this is the month of sitting or static situation. They refrain from fighting and just sitting and waiting for the season of the Hajj to come. The last one is Dhul Hajjah. Al-Hajjah means Hajj, means the pilgrimage. Dhul Hajjah means the month of Hajj, the month of the pilgrimage. And these 2 are part of the 4 sacred months. So all of these months were agreed upon by the Arabs for a long time. As I said, many centuries before Islam, but then the final decision about the names of the Arabic months came in the year 412 AD, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, became a prophet. The Quran was revealed to confirm the 12 months that was agreed upon prior to Islam. But after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, became a prophet, they were referring to the milestones to another milestone. For instance, they would say the Prophet Muhammad was born in the year of the elephants, which was really a milestone in the history of the Arabic Peninsula, when the elephants came from Ethiopia in a big army trying to destroy Al-Kaaba, the sacred house of Allah in Mecca. And Allah planned and destroyed all of them. So they would say this person is born in the year of the elephants. This person is born 5 years after the year of elephants. And then they would say this person is born in the year when Zamzam, the well of Zamzam, was dug out, etc. So they were referring all the incidents, the birth and death, etc., to certain milestones that they can say this is 5 years before that, or this is 1 year before that, etc. But there is no starting count point of the Islamic calendar until one of the governors of al-Basra, his name is Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. He was appointed by Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph, second khalifa, second president. He received a letter asking him to do some tasks. The letter mentioned the month of Sha'ban, but it did not mention what year. At that time, there was no years basically to follow. So Abu Musa really picked up this problem, and he stated how the Muslims are going to refer to the years 20 years, 200 years, 2,000 years later. So he wrote a letter to the Khalifa or the President, Umar ibn Khattab, asking him to start the calendar, asking him to start the counting of the calendar. So Umar ibn al-Khattab, in the 17th Hijri year, that's after 17 years of the Hijrah of the Prophet, migration of the Prophet from Mecca to Medina, or 7 years after the death of the Prophet, he gathered the Shura Council or the Consultation Council, like the leaders of the companions of the Prophet. He gathered them all. And he said, let's discuss what is the most significant milestone in the history of Muslims so we can consider this to be year zero for us. And then we start counting from that point on. So some of the companions around Umar, they suggested the birth of the Prophet. They said, well, this is the most significant point because the birth of the Prophet actually led us to receive Islam through Allah by his Prophet Muhammad. And others said, no, we should really consider the first of the revelation. When Allah revealed the first ayah to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that's when his message started. And then there was a third proposal, said, let's consider the death of the Prophet to be the most important milestone. And from that point, we can say this is year zero for our Islamic calendar. Because by the death of the Prophet, the revelation stopped. There's no revelation, there's no more revelation. So this is very important for us. It's like a new era started. But then Ali ibn Abi Talib said, I suggested that the migration of the Prophet and the Muslims from Mecca to Medina to be the beginning of the Islamic calendar. And everybody loved that idea. They voted on it. And then it was taken as a decision by Umar ibn al-Khattab. So the migration, which is the Hijrah, migration means the Hijrah, became the counting or the beginning of the counting of the Islamic year. So that's why our calendar, it's either called the Islamic calendar or the Hijri calendar. Hijri calendar, meaning it's reference to the migration of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Muslims with him from Mecca to Medina. When does Ramadan start? This is actually the point that was brought up by Sister Molly a few minutes ago. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said in the Holy Hadith that the months, it's either 29 or 30 days. When you see the moon, when you sight the crescent, the night before the month starts, then you start fasting. When you sight another moon at the end of the month of Ramadan, then you start breaking your fast the next day, and that will be your Eid al-Fitr, or the celebration of breaking the fast. So this is the hadith of the Prophet. He referred here to sighting. He said, تصوموا حتى تروه فإن غم عليكم. If you cannot really sight it with your naked eyes, then you should consider the month to be 30 and never ever 31 and never ever 28. So if you cannot sight it the night of the 28th, meaning the 29th will be the last day, or the night of the 30th, which will be the last month, last day, then you should really consider the month to be 30, and then that's it. You don't need really to sight it if you cannot sight it for 2 consecutive nights. So this hadith of the Prophet really based the beginning and the end of every month based on the naked eye sighting of the moon. However, there's also another hadith of the Prophet. He said, إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فاقدروا له. When you see it, then fast. When you see the moon at the end of the month, then you should end the fast. If it is obscured from you, then estimate it. Estimate means use your mind, rational thinking, to estimate the time. And because of this hadith, many scholars said that using the astronomical calculations can be the basis for the beginning and the end of every month. And especially they said that the beginning of and the end of every Islamic month, or the Hijri month, or the lunar system, became very precise with the modern science and technology that we have. Before we continue to this, let me stop here for